original sin concept,
Yes.
you can look at in that way. Like, for example, that you have a sin, like I have the sin because my parents sin. But you can look at in that way. In that way, it makes more sense.
You know, John, with all due respect, I don't think you've read the Bible. I think you've read parts of it. Wait. I think you've read parts of it. So please do not say most of the Christians believe it's metaphoric. You know? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, in Genesis, what was the punishment for the sin of Adam and Eve?
In the punishment.
Yeah, given to men and women. What was the punishment?
That.
No.
Yes, I mean.
You haven't read the Bible. That's what I'm saying.
They sin, so they knew the good and evil,
Habibi,
and therefore
you have not read the Bible. I can tell you this.
Genesis.
You read parts of it maybe, but you haven't read the Bible. To inform you of the story of Genesis even. Shall I tell you what the punishment was for the man and woman? The punishment for the woman is that she will bear children in pain.
Oh yes.
Now it's ringing a bell.
Yes,
okay? Now wait. Is that metaphoric or is that literal?
Can I?
No. Answer my question. Is that metaphoric or is that literal?
Is still metaphoric in the sense.
So the women today are not having childbirth with pain, or they're still having with pain, even after Jesus has sacrificed for you.
Yeah, maybe that's it's literal. Yeah?
Oh, I see. So the punishment is literal, but the sin is not literal. How does that even work? It should be the other way around, sometimes.
So do you believe that all Christians believe that the Genesis account is
well, I don't know about all, but
is a literal account?
Hold on.
Are you serious?
Can I answer?
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. Because if you ask the Christians whether the story of the snake that you gave, maybe that story might be metaphoric.
That's clearly metaphoric.
But that is not the story of Genesis. That is not the story of Genesis. The story of Genesis is the fall of Adam and Eve. That is the story of Genesis, and that is not metaphoric, my friend. They were literally ordered by God, and this is also in the Quran, not to go to this particular tree and eat from it, because this would be something that God commanded them not to do. In other words, if they did that, then there will be consequences for it.
Yeah, and trust me, even if I'm not an Orthodox Christian, I'm just a normal Christian.
What kind of a Christian you are, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm just a follower of Jesus.
Yeah, but which everyone says that.
Put it this way.
Everyone says
Okay,
that.
but
Every Christian says that. Even the Jehovah's Witness says this.
let me explain.
Even the Mormons say that.
No, that's really interesting because that's what I wrote in my book
Yeah.
to explain the problem of natural evil. So,
Bro, you need to read the Bible before you write a book about
so
Christianity.
for example, how do you explain the problem of natural evil? Since you're a theist, all of you, yeah?
Sorry, how do you explain?
All of you are theists, yeah?
Looks
So,
like, yeah.
How do you explain the problem of natural evil?
Of the?
The natural evil. Yeah, the natural evil, the fact that we got disease.
Oh, the problem of evil?
Yes, not the natural evil, because the moral evil is different, yeah, in philosophy.
Yeah, I know.
So the problem of moral evil, see, for example, if I kill someone else, it's because I've decided to kill someone else, because I have free will, therefore, that evil comes from my free will, yeah? But a child would die of cancer. How do you explain that?
It's very simple.
Natural evil.
It's well, not very simple, but for those people who have looked into it,
How do you explain it?
look, for us, the religion, I told you before as well, it's not just the Quran.
Okay.
Okay? So it's the Quran, the Hadith, the Seerah, the scholars, the writings, and so on.
I want an explanation of the natural.
Yeah. So natural, for example, the calamities, we see, natural calamities,
Yes.
or maybe cancer, or maybe early death of the child, or something like that.
Yes.
All this comes under the umbrella of a test of God. So for example, yes, the test of God. So for example, how you'll conduct yourself in such a calamity. The story of Job is a very good story in the Bible and also in the Quran. Yes, when Job got the disease, before Job got the disease, he was a very, a very rich person. He had lots of children, and yet he had a very good, life and everything.
Also metaphorical.
Yes. Well,
Satan came.
Hold on. For me, it's not metaphorical. So speak for yourself. And for most Christians also, it's not metaphorical because they were actually, the story goes like that he was a very fortunate man to have all this. Let me finish. If you ask me a question, allow me to answer. If you keep interjecting every time, I can't finish. Okay? So what I'm saying is that the story of Job is a very good story in this particular response to your question, that when Job had this fortunate life, yes, he was thankful to Allah and thankful to God. Yes? When the disease came to him, which lasted for many years, and he also bore that with much patience. And he said, this is a test from Allah. Yes? And the devil kept tempting him and his wife as well to basically says to give up his faith and to give up many things, to lose faith in God, but he did not. He was confident that this is from Allah and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, but
And after that test, wait a minute,
actually
my friend,
questioned God
my friend,
a lot, yeah.
my friend, that's,
Okay, yeah.
that's part of human nature. Questioning something is different to giving up faith in something. Yes? So the question is this, did he give up faith? No, he did not, because that was his test. What was this? This was a challenge of the Satan to Allah. Yes? The Satan wanted to show that the reason Ayyub alayhi salam, which is Job in the Bible, is thankful to God is because he has got all the things God has given him, all the riches and all the good family and the number of children. Of course he'll be thankful to God. But Allah says, give him a test to show the Satan that it is not because I gave him these things. This person is genuine. That even though he had the disease for many, many years, he did not give up faith. In other words, the Satan lost. The Satan lost because his concept of happiness and showing gratitude to God is only because of the worldly riches and the material wealth that was given to him, the children and so on. Yes? And this disproved his theory. Yes? That it is the material world which brought happiness and gratitude to God Almighty from Ayyub alayhi salam. Yes? And that is a question, sorry, that is the answer to your question. That these things are a test from Allah. You know what the Muslims say when somebody dies? Either from cancer or a natural death, whether it is a child or whether it is a man or a woman, yes, or an adult. We say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. To Allah we belong and to Him is our return. You know when I give you something to keep for a few, let's say if I gave you this watch and I said, my friend John, can you just keep this for a year? Yes? In a year you realize that this watch is really nice, it's given you a lot of benefit and all. Yes? Now, when a year approaches, I say, give my watch back to me. You say, no, it's mine. I want to keep it. I like it. Yes? This is the condition of us human beings. The body that we have, everything that we have in our life, the very breath, the very oxygen that we breathe. Yes? Wait, I haven't finished yet. Okay, I'm sorry it's taking long because the question you asked requires this kind of response.
Yes.
Yes? Everything that we have in our life belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? Just like my watch I gave him and then he started to like it. Yes? We started to like the body that he gave us. We start to like the life that he gave us. Yes? And then we say, no, it's ours. We don't want to let go of it. So whether he's dying of cancer, or whether he's dying a natural death, or whether he's dying a happy death, yes? All of this belongs to Allah regardless of what you think, or how terrible that death was, or how good the death was. All of this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, on the day of judgment, or in the akhirah, when Allah will ask you, how many days did you live? You know, most people will say a few days, maybe a day and a half, maybe 2 or 3 days.
Half a day.
Yes, a part of a day even. Yes? This is how much you remember of this world, my friend. So all that pain in your cancer, yes? And all the pain that you feel elsewhere. By the way, my mom died of cancer, so I know how serious this disease is. Yes? May Allah save us all from all this, and none of our family members or ourselves have to go through that. All of this, my friend, on the day of judgment, on the day of akhirah, when Allah will ask you, how long did you live? It'll be something so insignificant that you say it's even half a day. You'll forget all this, my friend. Yes? And then if you bear with patience all those things, yes, inshallah the reward in the akhirah will be something so great that all those things that you had experienced as pain and been really, really bad, or even burned through a lava, through an earthquake, you'll forget all of that, my friend. But you see to your family, you say, this guy died a terrible death. This guy died so badly, but that guy died instantly in that earthquake. Yes? Maybe on your deathbed, you might die more suffocatingly, much more worse than that. Because the pangs of death is something everyone should fear. Yes? So, the answer to your question about this natural death, these natural evils you call them, I don't consider them evil, my friend. I consider this to be a test from Allah.
Okay, so...
Go on, you wanted to say many things, now you can say them.
No, that's an interesting question, reply. But I can see it as a test for someone who is you know, as a mature, but to a child, what kind of test it is to have cancer, you know, a child having cancer. what kind of test is?
It's a test for his parents. How do you know it's a test for the child? It's a test for his parents, my friend. It's a test for his family. It's a test for his acquaintances. It's a test even for the doctors who are treating him. A test doesn't mean it's only given to the person suffering. A test is something which is global in many cases. And especially with today take care, bro. Today with the technology which we have today, they can show the suffering child and they can relate all around the world. You know, many people, they learn from that. They say, you know, certain times I see that people who have a disability, they look at other people who are more disabled than them, yes, or more or less enabled than them, yes. They learn from that person. What they learn? They learn the patience. They say, look at this poor guy, he can't even get up from his bed, and I'm in the wheelchair. At least I can go from place to place in my wheelchair, but this person cannot even move from his bed. Do you see? So the test, my friend, is not always for the person suffering, but it's the person around them as well.
Okay,
Go on.
So according to the metaphorical, clearly metaphorical, I think, account of Genesis, the explanation of natural evil is incredible sounder. And it's
Sorry, which natural evil are you talking in the Genesis? Which one? Can you be more specific?
No. What we experience, like the evil, like for example, natural, the genetic diseases and all this sort of stuff.
Sorry,
yeah.
all these are what? Metaphoric?
No. I'm saying that the explanation that comes from Genesis, it's brilliant and sounder.
What's Genesis got to do with the natural evils you're talking about?
Let me explain.
Okay.
So, the doctrine of the origin of sin can be seen in a different way. Not as a sin that is passed on. Like my parents has sin, so I have sin as well. No, it's not that way. It's just that the sin is affecting you. And let me explain how. So basically, according to Genesis, there was Adam and Eve in the paradise. Yeah. So they were in paradise.
Okay.
And if you look at the theory of evolution, I know you don't believe in the theory of evolution, but if you look at the data we have from the theory of evolution, you will see that the human being were in a condition of
Do you believe in
prosperity.
evolution?
Yes, I think
So
there's
you
the best
believe-
account of.
So you don't believe in Adam and Eve then?
Adam and Eve is a metaphorical.
Oh, now I see where you're getting the metaphorical from.
But
Okay,
listen
that makes
how
more sense
makes
now.
everything sense.
You wait.
So
Do you?
got
By the way, you said
science-
majority.
You got science
Wait,
and the Bible.
John. You
Right.
said majority of the Christians do not believe the Adam and Eve narrative to be literal is metaphorical. Do you think majority of the Christians believe in evolution?
Maybe not the majority.
So don't say the majority then.
But there's a lot of people who believe it.
Yeah, I don't say. I don't say. There are
lots
many
of
Muslims who believe in evolution. So what?
Okay, so let me see how the biblical account.
I'm surprised you don't believe in Adam and Eve story.
Is it?
Okay, interesting.
No, I think it's a metaphorical. It's a
Are you saying that God is
metaphorical account.
incapable of creating man from scratch?
Oh, it could.
So
But
why
I
do you
think-
want an ape and a common ancestor to come in between?
I think because if you look at the data, I think the way it seems more reasonable. That's the way we came.
No. The data doesn't
I mean-
actually prove that. The data doesn't prove. The data still has a lot of things which are unanswered for.
No, yes, that's true.
Yes?
That's true.
So don't tell me the data is
you're
conclusive.
You're bringing the God of the gap here.
No, I'm not.
I
I'm
mean,
not bringing
if you
God
were-
of the gap.
we can get
You're bringing the,
another- but
the
let me-
gap of the science now.
Let me think. Yes, but let me try to explain this. Okay, because I think it's interesting for you.
Okay, we're
also
going
to have-
into another discussion.
No,
I
yes,
don't know.
yeah. But-
Earlier you said you have 15 minutes.
No,
You
yeah,
stood here
sorry,
for more than
no,
an
but
hour.
I wanted to go there to this.
If you want to look
to
at
this church.
evolution from a scientific perspective,
I
look
know.
look up Brother Sabur.
I study.
You know
I've been studying a lot.
you know Brother Sabur?
So don't worry about it.
Do you know
I mean,
Sabur? Sabur, he comes here to Speaker's Corner sometimes. He's from Aira. He had a few debates in Speaker's Corner with regards to this topic about evolution. Maybe you should go and look it up because he gives perfectly good example to show that why the theory of evolution and even Darwinism is something which has become a religion now rather than
problem in the theory of evolution. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, if you look at what science is telling us at the moment, I mean, what seems to be more in face of the data, and if you look at the biblical account, metaphorical account, Genesis, you will see that they match perfectly. And,
Really?
And yes. Let me explain why. But I was trying to get to the point, but just listen for a
Okay,
second.
go on.
So you got this paradise on earth, which is the Garden of Eden. And it's interesting because in most of mythology, you've got the Chinese mythology, they're talking about the Garden of Eden.
By the way,
So
the Muslims don't believe it's on earth. by the way. Do you know that?
You don't believe in the
We don't
Garden
believe
of
that
Eden.
Adam and Eve were created on earth.
Okay, but then it's fine, that's right. But I think so. You basically believe that at the beginning things were better. Do you believe that?
Say again?
The things at the beginning were better.
In what sense?
They were like a paradise in it. No? Or you don't believe that?
I don't believe there was paradise on earth at all. I believe there was an earth which had maybe less pollution than today, which was perfect in that sense.
Okay.
That there were animals here, there were
Well done.
water, there was plants
exactly.
and so on.
So reasonably, the earth at the beginning was much better than what it is now.
So again,
The earth at the beginning was much
the
better.
earth, yes.
Yes. And also, if you think about it, I mean, according to the theory of evolution, I know that you don't believe that, but the environment designed the animal. Yeah. For example, so birds are designed for the environment. Monkeys are designed for the environment. Lions are designed to live.
You're gonna make a movie. Yeah. Just 5 minutes, yeah, inshallah.
To survive in savannah and all this sort of stuff. So
He has to go as well.
So you've got nature that design basically based on the natural selection and mutation design. So of course no, we have to have evolved in a place where we were in perfect harmony with our nature, with the environment. We have to, because otherwise the theory of evolution wouldn't work. We wouldn't have been able to, so the environment must have been the perfect one for us. In the same way, the lion is perfect in his environment, and the monkey in his environment, and the snake in his environment. So there was this Garden of Eden, and at one point, probably one man decided to go against his own conscience. Probably he said, "Oh, okay, I'm done with that," and maybe he left. Sorry, about that. He left the place where he was prospering. So so there was a warm place. There wasn't cold. The air was clean. The water was clean. So he decided to go against it. Yeah. So and left the place of prosperity. So in the same way, Adam and Eve, they left the paradise. So can you see it's a metaphor? So
in Christianity, they were thrown out.
What we know,
they were thrown out of paradise.
So what we know from the theory of evolution, that the first man was in Africa, in a warm place. So he evolved that, and then he spread all the way around. He left Africa and he started encountering other challenges. So he started encountering cold. He started encountering things that he couldn't have survived that.
For example, could it be possible he found another warm place where he settled?
Desert.
Could be possible.
Desert, hurricanes, all this sort of stuff.
No.
They couldn't be. Wait.
You're basically telling me Africa was the only place which was habitable. Yes. That was uninhabitable?
Yes. For the human being at the beginning, it must have been in a warm place, because how can...
No, but why are you saying only Africa is habitable? What about the other countries?
No.
The other continents?
They are continents, but the more you go away from Africa, the more it's difficult to survive for a human being.
Why?
It needs to create... Because
what if there is another habitable place elsewhere?
There are, but we know that the first human being started that. I mean,
but that's not what it means. The reason human beings migrate is not because this place is perfectly habitable. Maybe there might be other reasons they are migrating.
Yes. Let me finish the point.
Okay,
so basically, they decided to go against their own conscience. So probably they felt anxious, for example. When you're about to do something wrong, you felt anxious. You don't need anyone else to tell you. Yeah. So basically, they left this place of prosperity. They start encountering challenges. Maybe they start becoming hungry. They didn't have the food that was available. They start killing and doing this, doing that. And maybe they encounter the cold. They start killing animals to cover themselves and all this sort of stuff. So things that at the beginning,
what's this got to do with evolution?
Let me explain, because that's exactly what the theory of evolution is telling us.
What?
The human being was in a warm place in Africa, and then he left, he spread all around the world, and he started living in different places in the world. And that's exactly what the Bible is saying.
Survival of the fittest.
In Genesis.
Wait. Survival of the fittest is basically with the theory of evolution, the main core of it.
I know.
Wait. What has that got to do with Adam and Eve living the paradise?
That's what I'm trying to explain to you, because they were in Africa, in a warm place.
Yes.
So they couldn't face the challenges that, for example, we are now facing the cold. But we could have evolved in a place where there was cold, because we should have fur, for example. So, for example, the polar bear can survive here because it's designed to survive here. We couldn't be evolved here.
You don't need to evolve to face winter.
So, for example, okay, so
You need
so
all you need to do is
So, do you believe that, for example, one of us,
John,
only necessarily
calm
appear
down,
in a-
calm down, calm down.
Yeah.
Just because you're feeling cold, you don't need to evolve. You could easily kill an animal, take his fur, and wear it. At least at that time. Yes, today we got artificial synthetic fur and so on. Yes, look, human beings
Yeah, but
are
you-
quite. Wait. Human beings are quite capable of inventing things to make their life easier, and of basically even clothes, which are basic necessity. Basic necessity, they can easily get it. You don't need to evolve into a teddy bear, sorry, a polar bear to control the temperature around you. Look, I think what you have just said might work in theory for you, but when I look at the practicality of it, I do not see any sense or logic in it. But anyway, I think we have had a long discussion. We have
Yes,
gone
yeah,
into
yeah, that's
another tangent.
Yeah.
Yes,
No,
but I
but
want
it's
you.
just- it's
look,
just
yeah,
wanted to show you that
you look like a
it's-
person who is logical. You look at your environment. You look at your and you read things, and then you make up your mind. I suggest you do the same thing with looking into Islam, because you see, one day, like I said, we all will die. So whether a person is a believer or disbeliever, we all believe in one fact, that is death. We cannot deny that. We will face death one day. And that is not metaphoric, that's going to be very literal. Yes? On the day of judgment, when you face in front of Allah, and He says to you, when all the options are open to you, when all the information in front of you, yes, clearly stated and showed you that God is only one and not a triune being, yes, and not a person, He can become a human being and so on. Yes, all these things were clear to you, the data was there in front of you. Why did you reject it? I think you have to prepare for an answer for that. But I think since we have already discussed all this, I don't want to revisit all that. But please have a look at the video and then think about it. You know, because at the end of the day, we have got a whole life to think about things. Yes, do not waste it. I will do the same. Yes, I will look at all the different options available to me and then come to a conclusion. Not just look at where I was brought up or how I was brought up as a Muslim, but I looked at it all in a way which is objective in a way. Yes, that why should I follow this particular faith? Why should I follow this particular path? And the one that makes perfect sense to me, and I think you even admitted this, that Islam is logical. You know what God says in the Bible? That He is not the author of confusion. From asking you many questions, it seemed like you were confused in many of the core doctrines of your belief. Like even the original, the doctrine, the doctrine of the original sin. But anyway, like I said, we won't revisit this. We have discussed all of this. But all I'm saying is, look into it with an open mind and an open heart. Yes, and I pray that Allah gives you hidayah, gives you guidance, and thank you very much for your time, Jim. Hopefully we'll speak again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Jazakallah khairan. I know, 2 hours, bro.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Hope this video was helpful for you. This may help others too, so please consider sharing, and we will bring more videos in the future, inshallah. So consider subscribing and you won't miss any. Jazakallahu khairan.